My hands, oh my hand. Hello, my friends. Today is May 18th, and usually in mid-May in Colorado, the weather is amazing, but I woke up today and it looks like this. What is going on? That is snow. I was really excited today because I woke up all fired up to give a speech, presentation, motivational, whatever you want to call it, to a company here in Boulder called Parallel Path Marketing Company. And I was fired up to do it. I had prepared this whole talk, and then I got a call from them just now. They said, Ryan, we got to cancel because like a lot of our people live in the mountains and they can't get down here because there's 2 feet of snow. So now I have nothing to do today. Por favor, stop snowing, no me gusta. But you know what? When life gives you freak snowstorms, AKA lemons, you make snowstorm lemonade. So what I'm gonna do now is go on a run. It sounds crazy, sounds cold, sounds uncomfortable, but I'm gonna do it because I'm training for the race, the Boulder, which is in 2 weeks. I gotta run fast. I'm gonna run, and also I'm gonna try to talk to you, recite the speech that I was going to give. So at least I still get to do my presentation today, my motivational talk. All right, I am ready to go. And this is a fun fact. This hat I got about 10 years ago. I was at a bar and this dude was a big fan of my public access show. And he was kind of like drunk Garth from Wayne's World. He's like, I love you, man. I love you, man. He's like, I want to give you something. I'm like, that's okay. I don't need anything. I don't need anything. And he's like, no, I want to give you something. And he gave me this hat and I still wear it. So thank you, drunk guy at the bar, for this awesome hat. Let's go. All right. Is it really May 18th? You gotta be kidding me. All right, so here we go. I do a lot of motivational talks. It's one of my favorite things to do in the entire world. I love getting in front of audiences. I love getting people psyched up. And I just love sharing stories of my life that can hopefully inspire people. Oh man. So obviously I use a lot of the stories of my adventurous life as the meat of the presentations. But one of the main underlying themes is really attitude. It's all about attitude in life. If you go into something positive, cheerful, it's contagious. Not only is it gonna psych you up, but it's gonna psych up everybody around you. And I'm not saying for people just to wake up and be cheesy positive and fake it. That doesn't do anybody any good. But you can certainly choose what type of attitude you want to have. And that goes for anything in life. And there are obviously moments in life that really suck, that are really hard for a variety of reasons. And it's easy to be like, damn it, oh, the world is unfair. But we have the power to choose our reaction to that moment. There was one time in the jungles of Venezuela when I was filming the Discovery Channel show where I was really close to quitting. It had been about 20 days. We were all starving. We had been eating bugs. At this point, I'd probably lost about 25 pounds. We were sleeping in the rain, in the mud. It sucked. It was horrible. Let me tell you, it was no fun. But on that show, I was kind of known as the positive guy, the nice guy, which sounds a little boring because everybody else had kind of cool titles like Nick the Army Ranger, Tara the biologist, Ryan the nice guy. But being the nice guy, the positive guy, I took it upon myself as my job to keep spirits high because when we were in the jungle, all suffering together, we needed to be mentally fit and mentally positive to keep on moving. That was the key, because once you start getting down and getting bummed and getting depressed, it's just a downward spiral and it drives you into the ground. And we couldn't have that. But there was one moment I almost quit. I had almost had enough. It was day 20. I was starving. I had already passed out like twice. Just straight up, boom, fell over, passed out. My body was literally dying. Starvation is no good. And I was ready to push the button. And this button was gonna take me out of the jungle, back to society, back to food and warmth and water. And I was close, really close to hitting that button. But right at that moment, my buddies Nick and Brad got caught in a flash flood on the other side of a river. And it all got us charged up. We're like, we need to save those guys. So the rest of the crew went to the side of the river. We chopped down a tree. We got them across the river. And that moment really snapped me out of my funk. Because in that moment, I realized it wasn't about me. Yes, I was suffering. Yes, it sucked. But I was there with my teammates. And the teammates needed me in that moment. And it snapped me out of my pity party. And from that moment on, I was more motivated than ever. And there were times where I needed my teammates. And I'm really proud to have been part of that show because it portrayed the best of humanity. It really did. A lot of reality shows pit people against each other. Ours was not like that. We had to work together as a team. And there were some really beautiful moments in there where we really, really rallied because at different times, we were all suffering in our own way. And we had to lift them up and say, come on, buddy. Come on, Nick. Man, I'm soaking wet. I am soaking wet right now. And this next story is called Mama Pichu. And Mama Pichu is, of course, my mama. And it's a story of my mom answering the call to adventure for the first time in her life and me supporting her. Because most of my life centers around my own adventures and my own challenges. But this was the time of my life, damn, it's wet! This is the time of my life where it was all about my mom. You know, she had sacrificed essentially a lot of her life to raise 4 kids on her own and didn't really take a whole lot of time for herself other than just raising us, which is amazing. She's so selfless. But once we were all old enough and out of the house and my mom finally had some extra money, she decided it was time for her own adventure. And I was so excited for her. But she was not in great shape, you know? So we got her running, hiking, going up and down the stairs at Red Rocks Amphitheater to get her ready for a 7-day trek in Peru. And this was no easy trek. We went up and over 15,000 feet. We camped in the snow. It was amazing. It was really special to walk alongside her and see her grow as she did this adventure. She had no confidence in this before we went to Peru. She was really unsure if she could do it. 7 days in Peru with my mom, helping her to make her dream come true. And she fought, and she struggled, and she was uncomfortable, and her feet ached, and she was sleeping in a tent, something she hadn't done probably in 30 years. And I finally got to be the coach to my mom. You see, she had always been my life coach. But this is the one time I'm like, okay, Mom, I got you. I'm gonna be with you every step of the way. Every step of the way. I'm not going anywhere. And we're gonna do this together. And my brother Ethan was there as well. And it was really one of the best experiences of my life. We got to the sun gate that overlooks Machu Picchu, and there it was. After 7 long days, my mama made it. She cried, I cried, Ethan cried. It was beautiful. Why isn't there anybody out here? I don't see anybody else. I kind of like it when it's like this because I have the whole world to myself. Another story I love telling is the story that essentially kickstarted my career in my life. And that's the story of leaving the Peace Corps in Honduras on my bicycle and riding home to Colorado. There's so much to this one, but essentially I spent 2 years in Honduras working with at-risk youth, working with kids, being a big brother mentor to a whole neighborhood of awesome niños. And it was the hardest experience of my life up until this point. It really was. I was far away from home. I was scared. The mama's boy, Ryan, didn't have his mama. I was in a country speaking a language that I had not yet mastered, eating beans and rice every day, which was cool. I love beans and rice. But it was scary. I was like, what the hell am I doing? Going to the middle of nowhere, Honduras for 2 years. And that challenge, those days that were hard, those days that were tough, really gave me a lot of perspective on life. And when I finished my service after 2.5 years, I packed up my house, gave away most everything, packed the rest up in my bike trailer, and headed north on my bicycle into the great unknown. I really had no idea what I was doing. I had one map that was not very detailed, and every single day I just pedaled. I just went for it. And the reason why I didn't want to just fly home is because I wanted to process the experience. I wanted to process what I had done in the Peace Corps for those 2 years. I wanted to look toward the future of my life and decide what I wanted to do. And sitting on a bike for 10 hours a day for 3 months straight was therapy. It was the best therapy I've ever had. And along the way, obviously, there's many fun stories to tell. But the Mexican people were so kind and so generous. They took me in, they fed me. Truckers would stop on the side of the road, wave me over and say, "Hey, crazy gringo. First of all, what the hell are you doing? Second of all, you know, here's some water, here's some food." They took care of me. It was absolutely amazing. So I like to tell that story because the lesson of going into the unknown is really important in life. The lesson of facing your fears and not knowing what's gonna happen is really important, because we all have to do that if we wanna grow. We have to do that if we want to become better humans, more compassionate humans, if we wanna understand how the world works. You see, these experiences that I've done, they've all been very hard, but I've chosen to do them. Nobody said I had to do this stuff, but I wanted to do it. But there's a lot of people on this planet that don't choose hardship. They don't choose to make their life harder than it needs to be. And so that's why I love giving back. That's why I'm involved with a lot of nonprofits here in Boulder. My hand is frozen. Ah, my hand is frozen. My hand is frozen. So those are some of my favorite stories to tell audiences. Obviously, I pepper them with cool, interesting tidbits, like the time I had botflies in my arm, or the time I got robbed and had machetes thrown into my face. I didn't get cut. And, but I always ended off with some lessons. Oh, crap. Some lessons. This is gonna be interesting. Ugh. Woo. There's a lesson right there. You never know what life's gonna throw at you, and you gotta be ready for an audible. Like running across a freezing cold river. If you want something in this life, if you really want it, then you gotta do the work to get there. You really do. Start small, work your way to big. Another lesson, always move forward. It doesn't have to be giant leaps forward, but at least a little bit. Let's say you wanna run a marathon. You can't just wake up one day with no training and run 26 miles and expect your body to be cool with that. Your body ain't gonna be cool with that. So you gotta train 1 mile a day, 2 miles a day, 3 miles a day. Slowly build up. And you can take that with anything. If you want to get a job that you don't have the qualifications for, you gotta start small. You gotta get the experience. You know, I got started on public access TV 10 years ago, making no money at all, living in my mom's basement. but it's where I had to start to get the experience. Oh man, this is ridiculous. One of the main things is just being like a nice person. It goes so far. Like, I've gotten to where I am today, not because I'm really smart, not because I'm an elite athlete, but because I'm nice. I'm a nice guy, and I'm fun to hang out with, and I'm a good teammate. And people want to gravitate around cheerful people. So I hope some of that made sense to you. I hope that maybe some of those tidbits help you. Or maybe you just enjoyed watching me suffer as I ran through the wet, cold snow. Whatever reason, I appreciate you guys coming along in all my adventures, watching my YouTube vids, commenting. It really lifts me up. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it when you guys comment and say nice things. I'm gonna continue running, put the camera down, and we'll see you guys next time. But in the meantime, keep on getting outside, keep on loving life, and woo!
Thank you for watching my video. Please like and subscribe and send to all your amigos. Yeah!